In 30 years of practice, I learned that the first sentence out of an owner's mouth changes what happens next. Sometimes by hundreds of pounds, sometimes by more than that. Not because anybody is being dishonest, because of how veterinary consultations actually work, and because most owners have no idea what they are signaling when they speak. My name is Leon. I spent about 30 years in small animal practice, and I mostly see older cats now. And I want to give you 7 sentences to stop saying to your vet along with what to say instead. Number 1. Do whatever it takes. I understand exactly why people say this. You love the animal and you want the person in front of you to know that. It comes from a good place every single time. Here is what it does. It removes the cost conversation entirely. And the cost conversation is the one where options get discussed. Almost every situation in veterinary medicine has more than one reasonable path. There is a thorough version and there is a proportionate version, and quite often the outcome is similar. When you say do whatever it takes, you have told the vet you do not want the second path described to you. Say this instead: please talk me through the options, including a more conservative one and roughly what each costs. Nobody will think less of you. Anyone worth seeing will respect it. Number 2. Money is not an issue. Same problem in a harder form, and it is very rarely true. Number 3. He is fine, he is just getting old. This is the one that costs cats the most, and I include myself in the criticism because it is easy to nod along with. Old is not a diagnosis. Slowing down is not a diagnosis. When a cat over 10 stops jumping onto the counter or starts sleeping downstairs instead of upstairs, something has usually changed, and it is often something manageable. Cats hide discomfort extremely well. They do not limp the way a dog limps. They just quietly stop doing the things that have become difficult, and we interpret it as dignified aging. Say this instead: he has stopped doing 3 things he used to do, and here they are. That gives your vet something to work with. Old gives them nothing. Number 4. I read online that it might be. Now I want to be careful here because I am a man on the internet talking about cats. The problem is not that you researched. Research is good, and an owner who pays attention is worth a great deal. The problem is arriving with a conclusion instead of an observation. When you say, I think it is his kidneys, the consultation quietly reorganizes itself around kidneys. Your vet is now either confirming or disagreeing rather than looking freely. Say this instead. Describe what you have actually seen. He is drinking more. He is using the tray more often. His coat looks different. Facts, not conclusions. Let them assemble it. Number 5, can you just give him something? Every vet hears this every day, and I understand it completely. You want the animal to feel better and you want to go home. But this is asking for treatment without diagnosis, and a good vet will resist it. When they resist and you push, what often happens is a compromise that helps nobody. Something mild gets dispensed. The cat seems a bit better. You come back in 3 weeks with the same problem, and now you have paid twice. Say this instead: what would you need to know before treating this? Then decide whether you want to fund that step. Sometimes you will not, and that is a legitimate choice, but make it knowingly. Number 6. The last vet said. Sometimes this is genuinely useful information. Usually it arrives as a challenge, and it changes the temperature of the room. If you have records, bring the records. Paper beats memory, and it removes the confrontation entirely. Number 7. I will think about it. This is the one I want you to pay real attention to because it is the most expensive sentence on this list, and it does not sound like it. What owners mean is usually, I need to know what this costs, and I am too uncomfortable to ask. So they leave, and then they wait, and the thing that would have been straightforward in March becomes complicated in June. Say this instead: what does this cost, and what happens if I wait a month? That second half is the important part. Sometimes waiting a month is completely fine, and your vet will tell you so. Sometimes it is not, and you need to hear that clearly before you walk out. Now let me tell you the thing underneath all 7 of these. The consultation is 15 minutes. In those 15 minutes, your vet is trying to work out what is happening with an animal that cannot speak and will not cooperate, and they are trying to work out what you can afford without asking you directly, because asking directly feels rude. That second problem is enormous, and almost nobody talks about it. Vets are frequently terrified of appearing to upsell, so they underdescribe options. They mention the obvious path, and they skip the middle path because the middle path sounds like haggling over your cat. You can fix that in 1 sentence. Please tell me the options and the costs, and I will decide. That single sentence changes veterinary care more than anything else I could tell you today. Now, while we are talking about cost, let me name the thing owners of older cats most often overpay for. Repeat consultations times for the same unresolved problem. 3 visits at £70 each because nobody committed to finding out what was actually happening. 3 consultations often costs more than the investigation everyone was avoiding. And the second thing, emergency and out-of-hours fees for something that had been building for weeks. The same problem seen on a Tuesday afternoon costs a fraction of what it costs at 10 on a Saturday night. Older cats rarely go from well to emergency in a single step. They go from slightly different to noticeably different to emergency, and we miss the first 2 because they are quiet. That is why the 3 things list matters so much. Write down what your cat has stopped doing. Not what you think it means, just what has changed. I've put together a short manual on this. What actually changes in a cat after about 10, and what is worth investigating versus what is genuinely just age. What the common procedures cost so you can walk in already knowing. The questions that get you a straight answer. And a page of the changes that mean go now rather than wait until Monday. It is linked below and it is deliberately cheap. If it saves you 1 unnecessary repeat consultation, it has more than paid for itself. I want to finish with something that is not about money. The owners who get the best care for their cats are not the ones who spend the most. They are the ones who notice early and describe clearly and ask direct questions. You know your cat far better than any vet will in 15 minutes. You know where he sleeps and how he moves and what he sounds like at 3 in the morning. That knowledge is genuinely valuable, and most owners undervalue it completely and hand the whole thing over the moment they walk through the door. Do not do that. Describe what you have seen, ask what it costs, ask what happens if you wait. That is the entire skill, and it is worth more to your cat than any single treatment I could name.